From Idaho's News Channel 7, this is Friday Night Football.
It is crazy to think only 2 weeks left in the regular season here on Friday Night Football. What a season it has been. Welcome in and good evening, everybody. I'm Jay Tust. Like I said, 2 weeks to go in the regular season. So much on the line when it comes to playoff hopes. With that in mind, there were plenty of unbelievable options for our KTVB Game of the Week poll. Early in the week, Timberline and Rocky Mountain were a popular choice. But later in the week, Eagle and Borah surged ahead and they never looked back, earning our Game of the Week honors. So to Donna Larson Park we go in just a second here because we have to give you one little peek at the 6A SIC River Division standings. You can understand the hype because both the Mustangs and the Lions are 1 and 2 in the division, and the winner would clinch a spot in next week's conference championship game. Check this out. They actually printed the shirts. Grind set, mindset. We told them they had to do it a couple of weeks ago when they joined us in studio, and they obviously did. How big was this game? Well, Borah legend Austin Bolt was back in the house. Of course, Boise State is on a bye this weekend. We picked this one up with Eagle actually down 3-zip in the second. On 3rd and long, Austin Ramsey gets around the left edge for the first down. A few plays later, after giving up that first down, the Lions take this one back and capitalize off the mistake. Ryan Lopez goes up and high points this thing and comes down with the interception in the end zone. So on the ensuing possession, Borah trying to find some momentum. The Lions facing a 3rd and long, and well, it's Dylan Lukenga that steps up and uses his legs to pick up the first down. The drive would kind of end up mirroring what we just saw, though, because Lukenga goes to the air on 4th and 3, and this time it's Eagle with the takeaway. Chance Jones records the INT. So now going back the other direction, Noah Burnham reminds us all why he is one of the best players in the state. He breaks through tacklers, stiff arms that dude to the ground, and then picks up 35 yards to get over midfield. It did look like the Lions were about to make a stand. Austin Flaherty and Colton Posty stopped the run here, but a roughing the kicker call on 4th down would give that Eagle drive new life, and Austin Ramsey would take advantage of it. He hits Dallin Snooks for 6 at the back of the end zone. Eagle gets hot early in the 3rd quarter. They pull away from Borah 35-22 and clinch a spot in the 6A SIC championship game. Joining us live right now, the head coach of the Eagle Mustangs, James Kluff. Coach, first things first, how are we doing tonight? You calmed down yet from that big win over Borah?
Yeah, quite a swing of emotions. We're definitely feeling it. We're excited to be back into a district championship. But yeah, we're kind of coming back to reality after a good one down there at Donna Larson Park.
Coach, things are going pretty good for you. In 2 years on the job, you've played in 2 SIC championship games. At the moment, you've actually only lost to one team from the state of Idaho in the last 2 years. It happened in the playoffs. It was that team from up north last year. You've never lost to a team from the 6A SIC. So what is going right with you, your program, your culture, and your players at this point in time?
We have kids that are totally bought into everything the coaches are bringing. We've got a great coaching staff that sets the standard and holds our kids to a high level of accountability. And we've always had awesome kids that are willing to learn and work hard for this program. And we're super blessed to have the caliber of athletes that we have.
I'm telling you, Coach, I knew that you were probably calm, cool, and collected, but I was getting a little nervous for your squad tonight. Down 3-0, you hadn't scored late in the 2nd quarter. Your defense kind of kept you in that game. What happened there early in the 3rd quarter where you finally found that big spark on offense?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks we had some big drives that have ended the first half, and you hear a ton of guys at the next level talk about the middle 15, and we've been putting a lot of focus on that, and how we've ended first halves and started the second half has been a big difference maker for us, really the last couple of weeks specifically. And so anytime you open off the second half with a kickoff return for a touchdown, that definitely helps momentum in your favor.
That would help. You look at your quarterback, Austin Ramsey, played a lot for you last year, but was really kind of in that rotating position. He takes over this year. He had a turnover tonight, but he rarely turns the ball over. He's putting up some pretty big-time numbers for you. How has he kind of been able to come into his own as a junior?
Yeah, he's done a great job, first and foremost, of leadership. He's come in and really took reins over for this team as a junior. Our kids really responded to him. He's done a good job of putting the work in and showing what that looks like, and the kids are willing to follow him because of that. And that foundation really was laid, last January, and the work he put in there. And he's obviously having a tremendous year right now, extremely efficient with the football. Adding to his touchdown total. He did have a couple interceptions tonight, but he's been extremely exciting to watch at quarterback. We're excited to have him the rest of this year, next year.
I know that's a rarity for Austin. Staying in the backfield, how nice is it to be able to turn around and hand the ball off to Noah Burnham?
Yeah, definitely a quarterback's best friend, right? He's a security blanket. If we're ever out of rhythm on offense, we know that we got number 3 to turn to, and he's going to make something happen, whether it's 4 yards at a time and really wearing the defense down. But he's also obviously got that big playability that we see over and over.
I got to say, Coach, when the schedule came out, I was a little bummed that I didn't see Rocky and Eagle on that thing, but hey, it turns out the schedulers just kind of had it right. They made us wait till the end of this thing, and you wouldn't have to play each other multiple times in a season. How excited is your squad to get a crack at the #1 team in the state of Idaho next week?
Yeah, we were pretty bummed out. That's a good rivalry game for us and for them. There's a trophy that's on the line, and it was interesting to see that not on the schedule, but we're excited to face off for a district championship and get that thing going again.
Is the trophy? I mean, there's a big trophy on the line next week, but is the rivalry trophy up for grabs next week? Then
that's something that Scott and I have to decide for sure, and see what we do there. So
well. Coach Kluff, man, the expectations at Eagle are always high, but you are doing a terrific job there. Like I said, in year number 2, back in the SIC championship game. Best of luck to you and the crew, and good luck after next week, too. See if you can run this thing all the way to the end of the schedule, right?
That's right. We're excited. Thanks for covering us, Jay. Go Mustangs.
Absolutely. James Kluff, the head coach of the Eagle Mustangs, back in the the 6A SIC championship game. Okay, back to ball now. We go to the 6A Foothills divisions. The top 2 teams would meet there with a shot to get into the championship game. A big game for both Rocky Mountain and Timberline, but a really big game for Rocky Mountain QB Austin Rovig, who was back squaring off against his old team.
I'm really excited. We've been waiting for this game for a while now. I know our quarterback is originally from Timberline, so I know this game means a lot to him. So I think the whole team tonight is going to be playing for him.
We know this is a big game for him. He's a transfer. They talk a lot of trash to him. So he's a brother, he's a family member to all of us, and it's a big thing for us. So we've seen how hard he worked, what he does, so we're going to go play hard for him tonight.
Yeah, it means a little bit more. I feel like they're kind of talking trash to him a little bit, and they'll get after him a little bit, try and get in his head. But I think this game is more like we've got his back. We're his brothers. We're with him for this game, and I think he'll have his best game of the year.
Man, that's a heck of a prediction there by Cade Benedict. There he is, the senior, would have a big night tonight. The dude probably loved watching his defense get after it, too, early in the third quarter. How about Trey Jacobson firing up from his cornerback position behind the line of scrimmage, makes the tackle for the 3-yard loss. Following a punt, the Grizz get to work on the ground. Tayshawn Reese rushed for 109 yards tonight. How about here's 17 of them, spinning his way over midfield before finally going down. Plays like that set up plays like this off of play action. Rovig takes a monster shot, somehow gets rid of the ball, and then Cade Benedict does this, lays out to make the grab inside the red zone. On the very next play, Rovig fakes out everybody off of play action and dumps it to Drew Bird for the score. That made it 24-7 Rocky. How about we cap off these highlights with some defense? The Grizz got after T-line star QB Jack Brandt. That's Rowan Rupp with the sack. A few plays later, Brandt throws it back across the field, feeling the pressure again, and it's Hayden Gunlock that is ready for the moment. He comes up with the interception. Rocky rolls tonight, 31-13 the final. So the matchup is set. Undefeated Rocky Mountain will host 7-1 Eagle next Friday. Can't wait for this matchup. We have been waiting for it all season long. As I just mentioned with Coach Kluff, they didn't play in the regular season. Now we get them in the 6A SIC championship game. How about a little Thursday night football? Boise hosted Kuna last night over at Donna Larson Park. We pick it up in the second quarter. In an absolute slugfest at this point in time, the Cavemen get home, sack the quarterback, they force a punt. But check this out, the Brave playing some defense. Logan McDonald and Reese Harris team up with their buddies for the stop down near the goal line. On the very next play, with about a minute to go in the first half, that's Grant Spillman that fires into the backfield, gets the stop. The Brave quickly work themselves back into field goal position. Trevor Schoolfield looking for Jordan McDonald, but it's Will Gebert that catches it off the deflection. And that would set up a field goal right before time expires in the first half. That's Travis Bardich that connects there. We go to the second half. They would add 3 more early in the third quarter. Boise takes care of business against Kuna. 27-14 the final, and the boys from Boise staying up late tonight to join us live on Friday Night Football. First off, thank you. Second off, congratulations on the win last night. And thirdly, how we doing tonight?
Doing good.
Trevor, for you, you've been a part of this turnaround with Coach Altieri. Let's begin with Coach Altieri. What does he mean to this program? Because when you show up at a game, his energy is infectious.
Yeah, like you said, he just really brings the energy. I think he's been a huge part in turning the culture around. I mean, I love the guy. He's every day at practice, every game, just brings the energy.
For you, what's it like going to school these days? And Trevor, for you, you might not be connected to the past where Boise High didn't win a lot of games. But has Boise High kind of started to earn a reputation as a football school maybe?
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously last year that was a huge turnaround. This year we didn't really do what we expected, but I think we really set the standard for what we want in the next coming years.
Mm-hmm. Out of everybody on the couch, Trevor, you are the only guy that gets to come back and play high school football next year. We're going to get to that in a moment. We'll kick the mic over to Grant here for a second. You guys can just share that thing. Grant, you go both ways for this squad. You ever get tired?
No.
It doesn't seem like it.
I think it's just all the work we put in the off season. I mean, I feel like every other dude on this couch could do it as well. Like, we put in a bunch of work together. And I just like that during turnovers, like, if defense gets a stop, I like bringing the energy to the offense. You know, our coaches always talk about stacking good plays.
I think that, last year you guys, plenty of games where you played good defense, but I still kind of looked at what you were doing on offense. There's been games this year, though, where your defense has really kept you in games, like last night against Kuna. How much did you guys just kind of have to keep swinging against the Caveman?
Yeah, that's been a big focus for us in the offseason, was focusing on their defense. I think, there's been games where we've been able to hold them up. It's gone both ways, but I think just focusing on that, we've done a pretty good job.
All right, who's coached by Sam Whitney? Coach Witt. All right, tell me what it's like to be coached by Sam Witt, the former Boise State football player.
Yeah, Sam's a dog.
Yeah.
He was a huge dude. Obviously has a lot of just good coaching points that he gives me to play at linebacker, and it's just nice working with him throughout the whole offseason, the whole season.
It's funny you say he was a huge dude. Sam slimmed down a little bit since college. He's a distance runner now, from my understanding.
Yeah.
But seriously, one thing I always remember about Sam, man, that guy played like his hair was on fire when he played for the Boise State football team. How much does he kind of pass that mentality off to you guys?
Well, yeah, every game he kind of gets the defense in the zone, gets everyone fired up just to do their job, come out firing.
Trevor, I know that you said maybe the season hasn't gone the way that you maybe had wanted it to. And what that means is, don't know if you exactly control your playoff hopes at the moment. Maybe there's a crack in the door where you guys can get into this thing. So with that in mind, how badly do you need to go take care of business next week? What's in front of you immediately?
Yeah, well, like you said, things are kind of undecided as of now, but we really need to win next week.
Who do you got next week? Do you guys know? Have you sorted it all out yet?
It's either Centennial. Yeah, we got Centennial or Middleton right now. So.
Okay, well, I'm not going to lie, that's a pretty big difference there. Centennial hasn't won a game. Middleton, a pretty darn good team that was upset by Capital. So either way, what's it going to take next week? And maybe for somebody that will be playing maybe in their final game as a Boise Brave right now, how badly do you want to try to prolong, your respective careers with the win potentially next week and just hope for the best?
Yeah, next week is definitely a big game, especially for us seniors, being able to finish the season off really well, even if we don't get to go to the playoffs and continue. I think that it's kind of the same mentality that we had last night for senior night, just kind of go down swinging and have a lot of fun out there and finish out the season as good as we can.
Finish out the season as good as you can. Even if you don't end up in the postseason, you got to take a lot of pride in the fact that it feels like, hear me out, it feels like a disappointment. And there are a lot of Boise teams in the past that could not have said that, because it seemed like it was a huge achievement if they would win like 1 or 2 games. So with that being said, if you catch my drift here, how proud are you of these last 3 to 4 years and all the effort, energy that you've put into this thing to really right the ship and change the standard, change the culture at Boise High?
Yeah, I'm definitely one of the really proud seniors on the squad that has been able to, especially from being someone from my first year playing, seeing the varsity squad lose and not have great seasons, being able to see disappointment at the end of the year after such a great start when we would have never had that before, and kind of being able to have such an incredible culture now at Boise High that we've been able to change in the last few years, that it's not much of a, I hope that we can get a couple wins. It's, I hope that we can go to playoffs and make a good run for something bigger. So
it's funny because the word culture is something that a lot of teams claim. I really do think if you go out to a Boise High practice, you will see what culture means. What is it at the beginning of practice that you guys do? Is it a creed? What is it exactly that you guys go through? And I honestly, man, I was there. I don't know if we got the time to go through how long that thing is, but maybe just give me the Cliff Notes version of what that means, why it started, and who started it.
So one of our coaches, so to answer your question, it's our creed. And one of our coaches came in and he implemented it and made us captains all remember it. And it's just about, doing your part. Big emphasis is doing your job. And I think that's just helped our mindset through the season. And
I'm not going to lie. When I heard you guys doing it, I wanted to put on the shoulder pads and run through a wall again. I thought it was really, really cool. And it's just an example of what Coach Altieri, Sam Witt, all your phenomenal coaches are doing over there. You guys have done an awesome job these last few years. And like I said, once upon a time, you guys could not, claim disappointment by, winning 3, 4, 5 games in a season. So congrats to you. And maybe one more. How excited are you to take the field once more with your boys next week?
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it's the last ride. It's the last game of our career, all of our careers. So I think we're all pretty fired up for it.
We'll get it done, and we'll just hope for the best, right? And maybe we get to cover you guys 2 weeks from now as well. So we appreciate it. Get out of here. Give Coach Altieri and the guys over there my best. We appreciate you joining us this evening, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, more highlights coming your way here on Friday Night Football. And the Owyhee Storm hosted the Mountain View Mavericks this evening. Both these teams needing victories to stay in playoff contention. We pick it up on the second play of the game. Mavericks quarterback Hank Nelson drops back, doesn't like what he sees, so he uses his wheels to scramble for the big game before finally stumbling and going down. A few plays later, Nelson hands it off to Valentin Gomez-Ricks, who powers his way over the goal line for the score. Later in the second now, Owyhee quarterback Cole Froggerly hands it off to running back Asher Godet, who throws a stiff arm, then motors into the end zone. That tied it up at 7. One more play here that you just have to see. Mavericks quarterback Nelson scrambles here under pressure. He finds Gomez-Ricks, but this dude takes a big hit from Cade Walker. Kind of evident of the final score. That was the first knockout blow. Here's the next knockout blow. Owyhee rolls tonight 38-7. The final. The Storm, with a new quarterback, have definitely found some offense just in time for the playoffs to begin. All right, let's go on over across town. Centennial hosting Meridian tonight. We pick it up now in the start of the second half where Meridian is already leading big, and they decide to, well, add to that. This is Cody Ray. Takes the kickoff, returns it for big-time yardage before getting forced out of bounds. Meridian gets a field goal out of that. The Patriots would answer back. How about quarterback Madden Henderson throwing it to his wide receiver, Wade Ginn, for the huge gain before being shoved out of bounds. A few plays later, Henderson hands it off to his running back, Jaden Pooley. Get excited, Centennial. You deserve that moment. Too much for the Warriors tonight. Zeke Martinez passes it here out into the flat. His wide receiver makes a few guys miss, gets into the end zone. Meridian picks up their second victory of the season, and their second in a row, I believe. 45-21 the final of this one. Well, it was senior night out at Middleton High School, where the Vikings were taking on the Capital Eagles. Middleton starts the game off with a long drive. Drew Holman would sneak it in for the touchdown here. That gave the Vikings an early lead on the Eagles' first possession. How about some more special teams play? A big kickoff return gives them great field position. Then they take a deep shot downfield, but the throw was picked off by Derek Walker for Middleton. So Capital immediately gets a stop on defense, and then they get to work on offense. How about Marcellus Clay getting out, making a couple of guys miss? Later in the drive on 3rd and 8, a little bit of trickeration here. On the next play, Xander Groh would then get it in. The extra point would be good as well to tie the game up at 7. Middleton looking for a spark, and they find it in Colton Severa. He was bringing it all night long. Him and his quarterback, Brockton Smith, clearly showing some nice chemistry throughout the evening. A big 3rd down. Smith takes the hit, completes the pass. There was roughing the passer on the play as well, so a big gain for the Vikes. Later in the drive, Smith finds his big 6'5" target. That's Blake Bishop. That puts Middleton back in front, 14-7. With the Eagles now looking to score before halftime, it's Braden Dudley that finds his receiver, Elliott Schrank, that is. The beautiful double move. Then on 4th and 5, Dudley finds his guy again, this time for a touchdown to tie the game up. So Middleton then crosses over midfield, looking to get in field goal range. Capital then capitalizes on the Vikings' blunder here. That's Marcellus Clay bringing it to the house seconds before halftime. And it's Capital that goes on the road and pulls a rather shocking upset. The Eagles get it done tonight. They squeak by the Vikings. 35-34 the final. What a ball game, my goodness. Okay, let's continue now as we make our way over to the 5A SIC. And you can see here a whole lot of good teams just kind of clustered at the top. Bishop Kelly does seem like the cream of the crop, but those 4 teams, Emmett, Valley View, and Nampa, technically all still in the thick of this thing. We get on over to Nampa because the Bulldogs were hosting Emmett. With the Huskies up 17-8 on Nampa, we pick it up on 1st and goal. Emmett quarterback Ryder Schieber here calls his own number for the 2-yard touchdown run. Then on the ensuing drive, well, Nampa's quarterback gets after. That's Truman Gardner putting in the air. Looks like it gets picked. Going the other way, that's Scott Brady that takes it in for the touchdown. The Huskies led Nampa 32-7. To the 3rd quarter we go now. Nampa quarterback Riker Good rounds the corner, gets 30 yards downfield before finally getting tracked down from behind. Cortez Hernandez then scores on a 30-yard touchdown run moments later. But don't be confused, too little, too late. Emmett cruising tonight, 53-28 over Nampa. All right, up next, we got Bishop Kelly out on the road, going over to take on Ridgevue. The Knights have been red hot lately. Benavella finds Boston Husky for the 20-yard gain. On the next play, that's Avella that hands it off to Talon Cashmitter for the 5-yard touchdown. That would make it 7-0 BK. On the ensuing drive, the Warhawks run the ball 8 straight times, and the 9th time is the charm. McKay Cash, straight money, folks, with the 40-yard touchdown run. That would tie it back up. BK immediately strikes right back, though. Knights quarterback Benevilla finds Cade Nall for the 20-yard reception. Then on the next play, yep, right up the gut on the ground. BK goes up 14-7. They would go on to win 38-29. Man, what a night so far here on Friday Night Football, but we are far from finished. Let's check in on the 4A Snake River Valley standings. You want to talk about some good teams. How about Weiser, Fruitland, Homedale, McCall Donnelly, all still battling for a conference championship with only 2 weeks to go in the regular season. We take you on out to Fruitland. Yes, the Grizzlies and the Weiser Wolverines meeting for a defensive battle. I hope you don't like points. Check this out. After several penalties, the Grizzlies found themselves in 1st and 35. But their running back nearly breaks out. The stop is made by Garrett Walker just in time. On the next play, that's Titus Vidlak that connects with Coy Kaufman, who gains even more yards, but the Grizzlies don't get enough and they're forced to punt. The Wolverines get their own drive going here. They go to the ground. An impressive run by Cole Ingle for the first down. They can't keep that momentum sustained, though, and, well, on the next play, a tackle for loss. So finding themselves on 4th and 8, that's Colin Cook that takes to the air for a pass to Ryan Youngberg, but it falls short of the first down despite an impressive effort by both teams. At halftime, it was 0-0. The good news is somebody finally scored, but it was only one team that scored. Fruitland gets shut out tonight. Weiser comes away with a 14-0 victory. That is a big victory for the Wolverines as they try to track down a conference championship. All right, as we approach the end of Friday Night Football here, we have some more scores for you. We start up north. Lewiston hammers Lake City, 38-21 the final. Rigby wins a shootout with Hillcrest, 49-38. Payette taking care of Coal Valley Christian, 26-13 the final. Salmon River knocks off Horseshoe Bend, 30-22. Valley View absolutely blasts Columbia, 42-0 the final. Man, the Fighting Shea McClellans are rolling right now. Homedale wins a really important battle at the 4A level with McCall Donnelly. The Trojans take care of McCall Donnelly, 33-14. Council beats Cascade, 30-14. And then Tri-Valley squeaks past Garden Valley, 26-24 the final. And so with all that, I know that we're working right now on all these cross-divisional matchups, especially the 6A classification. I will remind you, though, it will be Eagle and Rocky battling for the 6A SIC championship. After that, it gets a little bit complicated, but we got you covered at KTVB.com. We'll break all that down for you so you understand who is playing where next week. Also, a lot of these conference races getting really tight as we head into the final week of the regular season. We'll give you a breakdown of who needs to take care of business in order to maybe win a conference championship or punch their ticket to the state playoffs, which are only 2 weeks away. Crazy to think that we are this far into high school football season. The playoffs are so close. What a night, though, for many teams around the Treasure Valley. I'm going to highlight Rocky Mountain really quick because a big game for Austin Rovig. Throws for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns as he knocks off the school he played for last year. That guy was a big addition for the Grizzlies. And talking with a number of his teammates today, they told me his mentality, his leadership really has impacted that whole team. And quarterback was kind of the missing piece of the Grizzlies these last few years. It always seemed like if they could get that figured out, they would take the next step. And now they're the #1 team in the state and undefeated heading into the 6A conference championship game next week against Eagle. Impressed by the Mustangs, didn't get off to a great start, and they still hang 35 points on the scoreboard over a really tough Borah team that has played really well over the last 6 weeks, but it's the Mustangs who get the job done. So, with that being said, we have reached the end of another Friday Night Football. Only one guaranteed week left. We might hang out with you for the first week of the playoffs as well. If it's not here on our YouTube show, it certainly will be during the news at 10. I appreciate everybody that works so hard on the show, driving all over the Treasure Valley. We have highlights as well as our interviews for you at KTVB.com, so make sure you check those out. Signing off for now for Friday Night Football, I'm Jay Tust. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody.